Welcome all the participants for the English session. Thank you all the participants for joining with us. Today is our 1913th day of continuous webinar. We will begin now the English session with a silent prayer. Good evening and welcome everyone once again. Today is our 1913th day of continuous webinar. We are conducting webinars in 3 languages, Hindi, English and Malayalam, without any break and without any leave for last 1912 days. And today's our guest is Professor RASHMI SHUKLA. She is MD in Homeopathy and founder of HOMOEOPATHY. More than 16 years of clinical experience and 12 years of teaching experience. She published many research papers related to homeopathy. She is winner of many awards and winner of Pride of Homeopathy at World Health Summit in Dubai. Today's our subject is Mysteries of Drug Dynamization Part 3. You are most welcome, Doctor. Please.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much once again. And as usual, I'm very excited and be prepared because today we will have a good number of probably the discussions around whatever the content that I had been presenting so far. So without wasting time, let's share the screen and start. Do you all remember? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Do you all remember this was the exact point where we left last time? That is the nanobubule thing where the succussion was tried to be encoded with the mechanical process where the kinetic energy was also considered, which found to be suspended within those bubules where the kinetic energy is percolated in the liquid once those bubules are being broken, because that is exactly the main mechanical thing that is happening in the solution when we try to succus the solution. So this kind of moment, if you see any liquid we try to do, then you see that there are tiny bubbles coming up. So the progressive and repetitive potentization process where the succussions are given in a particular wavelength, in a particular force, at a particular distance, or over a particular surface, it all had each and every steps of potentization had some or the other thing is to be done with this potent with this power of the medicine, means exact potent. So you can understand the brilliance of our master, that he specifically named the process as potentization, and he specifically made sure that each and every step, each and every action involved herein is done to increase the potency, means power, increase the power of the action of that particular solution. So this is, I think, the last slide of the last session that we discussed. So if you could see that whenever that succussion is done, the bubble goes upwards, it disappears, and it releases that further energy in the solution. Now, let us continue the series of investigations that our scientists had been continuing to uncover the hidden miracles or hidden bundle of energy within our drugs. Here, this time, Louis Ray of Switzerland has used thermolucence technology, which what happened, what he did is exactly that initial addition of solute, for example, suppose if he is using sodium chloride or LiCl in the water, he just said that, that solutions, that even after the molecules of that solvent solute is removed, still, like, all the traces of solute has disappeared after successive dilution. Means not even the means with strong vibration, there is nothing but the succussion. He said that the certain permanent kind of effects are still left, and this study is mentioned in the footer of the slide, that this thermolucence of ultra high dilution of lithium chloride and sodium chloride is what he has experimented, and he had proved it with a technology called thermolucence, where the minutest temperature is gauged with the advanced equipments, so that he understand exactly that the parent solution, and when diluted under strong vibration, means nothing but succussion is done, then there has like evidences that the still there are some effects that are left. He also mentioned that this phenomena, basically why it happens. So he said that there had been marked structural changes in hydrogen bond network, basically. So whenever, for example, any solute is dissolved into any solution, so what is happening exactly? The exchanges of bonds, make and break of bonds are happening. So the dissolved ions, basically, whenever they are dissolved in the main course of dilution process due to succussion, there is a significant optimization of, basically, happening at the level of hydrogen bonds. Means it's not just solving the like, dissolving the things, but it also actually the succussion, the role of that power packed thrust that we give in to our bottles, basically, that is actually working over this hydrogen bonds network. So what is happening, even after the no molecule is left in the solution, still the permanently changed hydrogen bonds are left behind. So basically what it has been demonstrated, that the nanoparticles are mostly crystalline in nature, they are not amorphous. So he demonstrated that the ultra high diluted various frozen dilutions such as sodium chloride and lithium chloride exhibit different thermolucent spectra. He suggested that this phenomena come from a marked structural change in the hydrogen bond network. So this is where now modern technology, it took so many years to uncover what exactly homeopathic dilution dynamization is doing with the in the throughout the process. Now this is one of the most favorite but most celebrated evidence of Professor Jack Van Veneste and his team. Basically, they started with they took up in vitro test of human basophil degranulation test. So what they showed in their experiment is, if anti-IgE is diluted even beyond Avogadro's law. Basically, we all remember that we invited, or we got lots of criticism after Avogadro's law, because he proved that after this kind of dilution, nothing that can exist. And from there, homeopathy had been under certain so-called scientific attacks that our drugs or our medicines containing nothing, they are just placebo, and we are just prank, we are just quacks kind of people. But here, uh, Professor Jack Van Veneste, when he initiated the process, that if anti-IgE is diluted beyond Avogadro's law, it is very unlikely there would be single molecule. That is what Avogadro law says, that after this much of dilution, nothing should be left. So anti-IgE should be present. So that is the 14 into 1:10 or 7 into 1:100 dilution. This is what like beyond this, no molecule ideally should exist. They are shown, but a very strong effect of this anti-IgE is found without fading out because of permanent imprints of the memory on solute. So this is a biological. So last experiment we saw the biochemical model. Here he is trying to demonstrate the biophysical model, where he is trying to show that this anti-IgE in vitro. So that's why bio. So it is creating that permanent memory of the solute, and even it persisted. That effect persisted even much higher dilution, like 60 is to 1 is to 100. And he's also saw that as many as 60% basophils degranulated without even single molecule of IgE in the solution. So you can see the reference of study, and it was published in Nature, the magazine Nature, in 1985. So the details of the publication has been mentioned very well under the like footer. Now again, we got one more make feel happy kind of moment when Australian National University, the Tyrrell and Attard, has proved beyond doubt that nanobabules do exist and persist. The succussions employed in preparation procedure introduce intense turbulence in the solution, that we can see very well, while changes in the pressure and temperature leads to formation of nanobabules. So they have verified the existence of nanobabules, which initially thought that probably could be a hypothesis. Every study and its publication, its magazine of publication, its year, its edition, everything is mentioned over every footer of the slide. Now, Professor Luc Montagnier, a Nobel Prize laureate 2008, who discovered HIV as responsible for development of AIDS, he determined that genomic DNA. Now he has tried for biophysical model, where um, he also determined that the genomic DNA of most pathogenic bacteria contains some sequences that are capable of generating nanostructure in high aqueous dilution, induce electromagnetic signal EMS. Now this is one of the most amazing stories. You must again understand what he has done. What he has done is, I'll explain. Basically, he very first time he found that only pathogenic bacteria and viruses at high dilution, ranging from 10 raised to power minus 5 to 10 raised to power minus 12, which corresponds to our 5D to 12D potency, produces such a kind of EMS underlying the cause of the change in nanostructure that appear in the solutions. So what he's trying to do is he actually what do we say, diluted probably, or potentized the bacteria, and he showed that they are showing as strong or equivalent EMS which they had been showing in its crude form. That is where our nosodes we should be boastful about. Probably that is what he is trying to confirm, that how accurate we were, our master was, and he was propagating that there has to be nosode thing, and it has to have certain curative properties by undergoing certain kind of process which we proudly name as. So now I think the potentization after this presentation, I think every homeopath should be taking pride of having such an amazing and much before ahead of its time kind of methodology of medicinal preparation, which was much beyond time. After 250 300 years also, still the science is yet struggling to discover what is happening, but it is happening, and daily we can see the magics in our respective OPDs. Yes, then this is one of all of us who has very well witnessed, because it happened in India and it had a good and wide paper publicity. And I remember this publicity very prominently because the date it got published was 9th of November 2010, and the next day, like 10th of November 2010, our first edition of our work, which named as My Organon of Nanomedicine, printed, which was published on 11th of November 2010, and it has its copyright which bore in way back like May 2010. So the artifact that was already copyrighted in May 2010, which was due to publish on 11th of November 2010, and 9th of November, this news came up in the newspapers, where Professor Prashant Satish Chikkalmane and his team at IIT Mumbai, he published that, and because it was again more applauded, because he had specifically than doing random medicinal or other substances, he has done specifically over homeopathic drug substances. So that's where he established that what they have done or probably recorded in their papers was extreme dilution, or concluded extreme dilution of homeopathic medicines, which are in many orders of magnitude greater than Avogadro's number. Consequently, theoretically, they should not contain any measurable remnant of source material. Agreed. Even if they contain nanoparticles, that's brighter, but for higher solution, that of 30C and 200C, probably they are verifying that there should be the existence of nanoparticle. Now here, the researcher elaborated that using market sample of metal derived, so there the limitation of this study was because they have done it into insoluble substance, they have done into which are like metals or mineral kingdom. So they have utilized mineral kingdom samples. So from market, they collected the sample of same remedies of different manufacturer, and they have utilized a transmission electron microscopy and electron diffraction and chemical analysis. So into coupled plasma atomic emission spectroscopy, and with all this high-tech modeling, they try to establish the presence of physical entity in this extreme dilution, and which after so much of magnification, they somehow found that there is a presence of nanoparticles of the starting metals in even highest kind of potencies. So this was a kind of demonstrative pictures that, and these are the real picture where TEM, the first one was of zincamet 30C of SBL. Second is 200C, zincam 30C, 200C. This is 30C again, but it was of a different company, but same zincamet. And 200C, and this was a WSI company, I think Weisel, I guess. Oramet 30C SBL, 200 SBL, 30C WSI, 200C WSI. Now understand the importance that this study has both. Okay, one side it authenticated that higher potencies do contain kind of the original source substance in the form of nanoparticle, but the other side, if you see, this is the same medicine but different company, same medicine different company. So if you could see, there is a significant difference between the two same potencies of different company. So it is definitely putting a huge question over standardization of manufacturers. So who is right or which is correct? Because this significant difference, if you could see, of same medicine different company, is really making homeopathic medicine questionable scientifically. So it has got both sides. So we have to understand, and I hope everyone would have noted this, that how to take and make most of this study. So this is again the reference where the Prashant Satish Chikkarmare and Kiha Suresh and all his team, and the study's title was Extreme Homeopathic Dilution Retains Starting Materials, a Nanoparticulate Perspective, Homeopathy 2010, and the page number has been mentioned. So yes, this was the research paper that was published, that we all know and we celebrated, but it has its flip sides as well. I hope you have noted it very well. So all these evidences basically are I have tried to compile, because previous to this study and a couple of more study, most of studies, if you see, they are done with some or the other random chemistry or physics experiment is been put up. But a very few studies that are done focused to, by utilizing the homeopathic medicine, and probably the in their conclusion establishing and giving the reference that this is what homeopathy is about. But I tried to gather everything which had some or the other thing to do with the potentization methodology, and try to put that up together so that we can really understand what is happening inside. And unfortunately, none of these studies are being done by CCRH, homeopaths, and so I hope you know what I'm trying to say. So all this evidence is presented, and over here along with references, basically to stand up homeopathy as an evidence-based system. Of course, most of them are what we say, we just try to gather it, and they are very relative references, and absolute references are very few, that I have told you already, but they are very few, and unfortunately none of them are done by homeopaths. If any that sort of any one of know, then please update me. I would be happy to update myself with that. But none of them, as far as my knowledge go, is been done by focused homeopathic studies done by homeopath, funded by homeopathic bodies. So now coming to the what I wanted to convey through this are, there are many more experiments basically which are already there conducted and still going on all over the world, and of course we need to update and getting flow with that. The PPT is just meant to give an overview of whatever is happening in modern scientific era, which can support scientific basis of our law of minimum. Now there are certain homeopathic side, the homeopath, what homeopath, I as a homeopath have done with this knowledge. So we have compiled all these experiments, and this is just one law of minimum. Believe me, we have gathered this kind of experiments to confirm all of our fundamental cardinal principles of homeopathy. Let it be vital force, let it be doctrine of chronic disease, let it be law of simplex. So every law is been proven with this kind of correlation, and this kind of correlative book has been published thrice, and current publication is the under the name of Preamble of Novel Homeopathy. The first publication was my organon of nanopathy, my organon of immunanopathy, that was the name. So now what we are now, how we are going to conclude this is, whatever experiments are done and whatever we are verifying in practice, actually hyperactivation process is a sort of top-down method used for nanofabrication of substance. So hydrogen bond thing, so we are restructuring the whole solvent with a process, okay, and we are actually doing nanofabrication. We are doing it beyond microscope. People have to take centuries to discover what is happening in homeopathic drug dynamization, and here now we can see and show. Now, through this whole process, the operational power of substances not only gets enhanced, but memory also remains intact. So we have tried to prove, and now there is a physiological or a physical model also, where we have also had been studies, not we exactly, but the studies has established that there are existing nanoparticle thing which is carrying that thing. Now, what is whole thing is about? It is about memory conserving process. So here, Dr. Erwin Laszlo, twice he has been nominated for Nobel Peace Prize, who was the author of Science and Akashic Field. He said that water has a remarkable capacity to register and conserve the information, as indicated amongst other things. Homeopathic remedies that remain effective even when not a single molecule of original substance remains in dilution. So, what is happening? We are some or the other way doing the process and reaching up to outcome, that memory conserving process. So, whole dynamization can be called as memory conserving process. This, what is happening exactly? The residues are disseminated ahead when they means that end products are used in any living organism. Now what is happening, when that final potency we are implementing into a living organism, for example, say nitromure or anything, the most inert substance probably in the world can be most effective operative tools which we see daily in our OPDs. This is what our master's mind was. So therefore he said that it evokes the latent power. So in his language, what all he could say is, it is provoking the latent power of the substance. And probably he lack of real knowledge means he did not have even the idea that science will go where, but he just persuaded with whatever his instincts told him to do. And but it was very true that this method was never ever, no one has implemented the way Hahnemann used it, although there are certain evidences of utilizing similar dilution thing in Ayurveda, but that is simple dilution. There you can see that the Swarna thing they are preparing, they are utilizing, but that is a plain dilution and not the potentization. So our master stands tall forever for taking that credit that he could discover such an amazing science, and what do we say, that memory conservation process in the name of dynamization. So this is the reason that the father of this process and a master became capable of opening new era. Because you could see, if you read introduction, if you remember introduction, we know that where the medical field was and what they are doing and what they were not able to do. And in that era, master could open a new era in the field of life sciences and medicine. And yes, I forgot me somehow. I just could not recollect the Lancet publication, where after the preparing first 30C potency of belladonna in 1889 probably, the Hahnemann was mentioned as father of nanomedicine, and that's very well written. And I'll quote that very soon, somewhere it is written, and same Lancet has published this. So this is the reason that father of, that is what I think I completed. So homeopathy is nothing but the execution of similia. So what we are trying to achieve is the effect. So homeopathy is nothing but execution of similia. For homeopathy, it has become capable of addressing all the phenotypes of the disease. Mind the use of the words phenotypes. So we are not, no medicine in the world is able to the effect the roots of the disease, that is genes. So that is the genotype of the disease. But exclusively we are handling the physical or physiological effects of the disease, that is phenotype. So that's why homeopathy is able to address all phenotypes of the disease, all the stages of the disease processes, from beginning, middle to last process, which we can very well see in all drug proving text or materia medica. that basically every process can be ended with homeopathic medicine. Thereafter, the products of the disease process are finally eliminated by body mechanics. So what is happening is homeopathy is just triggering the recovery, and rest the body can take care of itself. The all secrets of this is there in modus operandi. I think I have taken part one. If you invite, I'll come for part two again, so that we discuss that how exactly homeopathy creating the cures. In fact, how it may be accomplished basically is been even elaboratedly discussed into Protocol of Life and Nanomedicine and Preamble of Nano Homeopathy, Novel Homeopathy. There we have discussed it in details. That is our publication with BJNs. So what to conclude with, I expect that this PPT might have made you realize the fact that homeopathy is a true science which is much ahead of its time. This knowledge will give you confidence to survive proudly as homeopath, and I don't expect survival because the kind of great people and audience sitting there, I expect good, we should be thriving now with this knowledge, and just proudly uh, our head upright to be called as homeopath in medical fraternity. After this much of research, any article of Lancet or any other magazine will not dare to call our science homeopathy as a placebo, but the important step is again missing, that we as a homeopath and our homeopathic bodies has to be doing it on forefront. If they are able to do, we can also do. We are getting enough of fund, we are which is going unutilized, which has to be utilized for these kind of studies, so that the real change is created. The homeopaths are imbibed with huge confidence, which basically will uh, create the next generation of homeopath more confident, probably more competent. So definitely still a long path stays there waiting for us to walk over, and we had no option but to walk. So earlier would be the better. So we have to work definitely harder if we have to, if you want to continue this legacy of our master. Because our mission, Hahnemann said that we have to heal the patient. So yes, we have to heal the patient, and this is where I'd like to end today. Unlike all other presentation, it has finished pretty fast. If anyone has uh, any doubts or any slides they want to revisit or any old slides they want to revisit or discuss, I think it's open, because I think for today, for my side, the presentation has this much where we could conclude.
Thank you.
And this time, yeah, and this time I'm before Danesh sir. So yes.
Dr. Manoj will.
Yes.
Thank you. The number of participants itself shows how much we are connected with science. But one thing I must say that usually these kind of studies are not done by the medical personnels. That we must understand. We always criticize ourselves that none of our homeopathy doctors are doing research in this way. At the same time, how many doctors from the allopathic side doing the research? They are not at all physicians. They are scientists. Another thing is that even if you have done some research works and you published it, how many of them or the other medical world will accept it? Because they point out that you are not qualified because you don't have the technical qualification, academic qualification. So these are things that we know the statistical studies even. Who is your statistician is the first question. What is the statistical study shows? They never accept, because I know that the COVID, the effect of arsenic album, the homeopathy department published a paper with a sample study of 1,10,000 with 91% efficacy. But how much importance given to that by the medical science or the common man? The suffering human beings, suffering fraternity. They never responded. So almost all fellows, the so-called these wise persons are also prejudiced. So what pride and prejudice is really very this guiding them. When you mention about this, it is the succession method is not adopted in any other system. I think the Shira system, the Ayurveda, it is also not only diluted but 108 times it is shaking, but not according to a specific scale as mentioned by Hahnemann. So that's why yesterday, a couple of days I mentioned the Dudgeon's coatings. His passion for accuracy might have led him to adopt a scale during the process of propertization. Accuracy. So that type of precision is not followed in Ayurveda. Then another thing is that what you mentioned about this, the top-down method. What is the right? You didn't got that. You mentioned what is that?
Yes. So basically, top down means when you are starting from a broader this thing, when you start probably from cruder to the you're entering to electron level probably, or the hydrogen bond level. So it's like from crude molecules to even probably the electron level we are just going. So probably that's what it's like, say, symbolizing that top down. So that's the way that going to the core of that substance, let it be any resource for that matter, because initially we used to struggle a lot between, like, the biological product, like most of animal kingdom or the plant kingdom and mineral kingdom. So for us it was a major difference when it comes to the understanding the pharmacology. So the main is like either it's a biological solute or it's a mineral solute, irrespective of the resource. So majorly only two categories basically that does exist. And the second category is soluble and insoluble. So for that we have discovered the two ways of potentization. One is trituration, another is succussion. Succussion is for soluble and trituration is for insoluble, and that too also after third dilution they are again getting into that again succussion method. So initial the way he has done it. So but irrespective of whatever, ultimately we are entering into that chemical alteration. Like even if any decoction, after decoction you have derived any plants that mother tincture, so ultimately that's again a chemical. So again ultimately all the sources are coming down to one kingdom, that is mineral. For our purpose of understanding, ultimately they are that those molecule only. Yes. Everything is molecule only. So again everything narrow down to molecular level, from molecule to atom to electron.
Yes. It's a similar situation. The non-cooperation of the fellow beings happened when Hahnemann invited them to prove medicines on the healthy being. Everybody is lamenting or calling or crying for this proving. The medicine should be proved in the healthy human body. Then Hahnemann invited, but none of them responded. That is situation. So don't get disappointed. You have done a commendable job. Others are not cooperating. It's quite natural. Okay, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I think Hariharan sir wants to ask something.
Yeah, Dr. Hariharan, please.
Okay, Doctor. Madam, your lecturing is fine and fantastic. Very good. Appreciation. But see, one of my doubt. We know homeopathy born at Germany, and it is once flourished at America, and it is subsided, and it flourished in India. Then why? It is not flourished in Western countries, but it is flourished in our country, that Asian countries. My main country is India. What is the reason behind this? That is my first question. If you know the answer, you tell me the reason, right? Then next thing is, Hahnemann proved all our medicines are proved in human beings. But these medicines are fantastically act upon animals and birds.
Very true.
It is not proved in animals, but it is very good action upon animals. What is the reason behind? Can you tell me?
Both of your question, I'll try, and all other fellows can definitely join it. The first question is the way homeopathy just evolved in West. It flourished definitely. There had been time in pre-Kantian era in the America. There used to be huge asylums and huge homeopathic hospitals, and there was a time where homeopathy was most structured and most disciplined system of medications, where during the era of Hering, it was the golden era of homeopathy in America. There could be so many postulation, but two that could hook my mind, that probably these could be the major reasons behind it. And if anyone can come up with some more studies or some more understanding, and probably the history of homeopathy could be in another chapter, I would prepare. I love to prepare. Come up. Probably it will have more elaborate answer. But to begin with, I found two reasons. First was, at the era of Hering, he was an excellent leader. He started his time in homeopathy probably in 1830 or so, 1830-35, and onwards he proved many drugs. He did exemplary work in homeopathy in America. Post Hering, and he had his good followers, and at his time only homeopathy had those structured educational colleges and everything. And that is where but I would be very honest to say here that the first generation of homeopaths all were allopaths. The problem came when the primary homeopaths started coming up, because that is what is said, and probably there could be many reasons, but that was that when second generation came, the problem started. Of course, we should not undercount our seniors' contribution, because that is where we are here, having everything in our lives because of whatever the struggle they have gone through. But somewhere post-Kent, again, Kent has contributed expansion of this era. He was very famous and he was very influential. But post-Kent, because Kent tried to simplify homeopathy, but it amplified homeopathy as Dadima's butler. So he literally took that homeopathy and its understanding beyond science and medical science kind of, than a home remedy kind of thing. So that probably, from my understanding, probably might have hit a lot of scientific understanding and scientific image of homeopathy probably, and then everyone is started studying and giving medicine, seeing results. Oh, belladonna diya, conjunctivitis theek ho gaya, ye main homeopath ban gaya. So that is what probably might have started, and that might have hit, because a layman practicing homeopathy definitely cannot get into that level that what a homeopath or a clinician should be. So probably then the bad effect starts happening, and then probably the trust and everything went off. The second, which is very important, because public is always with you, but if politics is not with you, you're finished. So world's first homeopathy, first medical association was formed by American homeopaths, and it was the association, I probably may not spell it exactly, but it was Association of American Association of Homeopathy. Probably this was the name, and that was world's first medical doctors association. No allopathic association were existent. You can Google. But then the kind of split that happened, because I would probably humbly also say that the attitude of Hahnemann, while putting up his thoughts or his system, he was more critical about the other system. That's why you could see that there was almost 30 to 60 pages of introduction, and whole introduction was only criticism of modern medicine or old school medicine. That also withdrawn a lot of support from homeopathy. Had Hahnemann been diplomatic enough to put up the way Modi ji does, so probably probably homeopathy would have been the only and the main system of practice in the world by now. But somewhere he just could not gather that support diplomatically because of his temper or the knowledge or whatever. But somehow that could not happen. So after his first or second, and if you see, every converted homeopath was not mostly out of curiosity of knowledge or the nobility I'll call of what Hahnemann had, कि मुझे कुछ अच्छा करना है, मुझे मेरे पेशेंट का मैं बुरा नहीं कर सकता, इसके बजाय हर किसी ने उसके इफेक्ट्स देखकर उसको प्रॉब्ली प्रॉपर एक्सपेरिमेंट करके और देखा कि हाँ ये वर्क कर रहा है, तो वो चलती नैया में बैठे हैं. But Hahnemann who constructed that naiya, so those who were very very ready-made, they got, and we also have got everything ready-made. But these guys, so somewhere they could not carry that legacy. Probably they could not value that science as Hahnemann, and probably all true Hahnemannian homeopath probably might be having Kattar homeopath at all. So probably that is the thing. And the second is that American Association of Homeopath were countered. To counter them, that animosity went on going, because they saw us very potent threat to their existence probably. And somewhere then they, on the competition, they started their allopathic association, and that is where the rift started very loud, where they would physical fight. Probably a husband is allopath and wife is homeopath. Then lots of even restrictions were done. Then association got into politics, and then that becomes another matter of fight altogether than really the healing purpose actually all of us actually might have diverted from. And that is where probably the starting from America to whole of Europe, we are almost finished. We are not even able to call ourselves doctor or physician.
No, madam, that is not my question. Why it is flourished in India? What is the reason?
That's another question. So yes, it flourished in India because we could get consequently we could get good pioneers to support the flow, the way it started through Raja Hari Singh and the Kolkata, and the generation after generations. We really retained that thing. Secondly, homeopathy being cost effective, it was almost always was a choice of masses, where the good teaching was homeopathy and good educational infra. We should thank the probably that times government and the strugglers who struggled homeopathy through from degree to to a diploma to degree and now whatnot. So yes, so eventually again I would probably the word may not be very appropriate, but probably we could have good lobbying here, and we could have really rally through our results to the top, and we definitely tried or probably maintained our that say in the government, and probably are all good organization and all our senior leaders like Sani sir, who maintained this legacy ahead. And that is where I think we are able to survive, besides the results, because results to America और यूरोप में भी दिखाई रहे होंगे ना, दिखाई रहे होंगे. So where I feel a very strong element is of that diplomatic existence, and definitely which is now threatened in India too, and we all know, and probably we may require a separate session to discuss that what is going to happen, but madam, I have discussed my couple of sessions.
Okay, madam. See, I think in my mind, I think, see, a collective philosophical background of Indians. See, okay, it is really very co-similar to the philosophy of homeopathy. Okay. That is why homeopathy flourishes totally in India. That is why homeopathy flourishes in India. The philosophical background, collective philosophical background. That is why I think it is so. See, I don't know what is your opinion regarding it. Anyway, I think it's so. So that I want to know what is your opinion. Okay, thank you very much. But another question, you do not answer.
Which question, sir?
Okay, I asked you. See, it is human beings. It is proved homeopathic medicine.
How it is shown in that.
Then
Yes,
see,
yes.
even it is proved in human beings, but it is highly acting in all the living organisms, including see animals and see the plants.
True.
Fantastically active. It is not proven in see that our medicine is not proved in animals. Even then it is acting. So where then what is the reason? Do you know what is the reason behind?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the reason is the way animal tested allopathic medicines are acting and creating results in humans. Homeopathic proven drugs on humans are creating results in the other species.
Okay, okay, doctor. See,
Why no one questioned? My question is why no one questioned them that how you are proving a drug's efficacy over a rat and treating a human, and they are scientific, and we are treating human, proving on human, and we are empirical.
Okay, please go to next, Dr.
Yeah.
Danesh, please.
Yes, Dr. RASHMI SHUKLA, it is really an excellent session. You really deserve PhD for this presentation, because 3 hours presentation on a subject which was very there are a lot of dispute going on among public as well as doctors and among medical fraternity itself. And you were able to give some answers to some of the questions raised by those people. And that's the reason why these Lancet people are criticizing homeopathy, because they are looking at they were planning to uh, extinguish homeopathy from West, but or in the meantime, it is growing just like anything in India and in Asian countries also. And as Dr. Harith sir asked why this is happening, yes, there is an answer. It is answering because the people are getting result, not by any public announcement that homeopathy has done this or that, but instead mouth to mouth publicity in the early times really reached almost all years in the people of in India, and that is the reason why it is growing. Not only the simple local people or low quality people or low income group people, but it is used by very high profile people also, and they are also giving their support in that way. That is the reason why homeopathy is growing,
People support.
and and that's what we need to look into. And what we can do is that we not all homeopaths need to come over here and say that I'm doing this much of research for homeopathy, but what you have to do is you have to prove in front of the patients, in front of the community, that homeopathy is doing so much good for public and in the families also. That's the reason why people are rushing towards homeopathy, and nobody can prevent people from coming to homeopaths. But that's the reason why the so-called medical bill has enhanced in that way, that you cannot treat this disease, that disease. You are supposed to treat only those diseases that are not supposed to be in the list of communicable disease like that. But frankly, all communicable diseases can be treated with homeopathy from the very beginning until today, and for tomorrow also we can do. That's what I would like to add to this session. And what
Excuse me, Dr. Danesh, let me add one thing. I think the answer is otherwise. Because we know that India is welcoming almost all ideologies, the religions, almost all things, the food habits, everything. It is we are accepting. The other thing is that, of course, the philosophy, because we know that the Vaisheshika Sutra, it always telling about the different properties of matter. Then the yoga, the anima, garima, mahima, the small quantities there. So the philosophical aspect is there. Another one is the approach of Indians. It is totally different. Then the answer for I think or Hirans are asked why homeopathy is effective in all these, the animals, the plants, and human beings. My humble suggestion is that because of the presence of life force, the animals, the plants, and the human beings, everybody, it has got its own life. Otherwise, it will not grow. It will not degenerate. So the presence of life force once again reiterates that homeopathy is the true science. Thank you.
Very true, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj. Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Rashmi Shukla. Actually, it's a good discussion. You have completed your class before half an hour, and we had a nice discussion. That's also very nice because we don't finish the class earlier, so we don't get any time for discussion. We need such discussion in the future also. Thank you so much for your subject selection and the class you have taken here. I think Dr. Ram Parvesha sir is ready for giving out of thanks.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you so much. And I'm inviting Dr. Ram Parvesha sir for giving out of thanks to Dr. Rashmi Shukla. You're welcome,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Ajni ji, and everyone. Namaskar. Ganesh ji, Manoj ji, Stella. Congratulations, Dr. Rashmi Shukla. Rashmi Shukla is a dynamic personality. We deal the dynamic lectures and dynamization, potentization, and development of homeopathy. Yani Rashmi Shukla is a very good describe the homeopathic development growing India and other country. So very, very thanks, Dr. Rashmi Shukla, behalf of IFPH, again presentation, always presentation, IFPH, whole team, very, very thanks.
And thank you everyone for calling me and listening to me and enriching my knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Har ghar homeopathic, har ghar homeopathic.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Rashmi Shukla, and thank you all the participants joined here. This is the end of our English session today. Now I am inviting for the Malayalam session. I am inviting Dr. Manoj for moderating Malayalam session. You are welcome and good night to everyone. Love you all. See you the same time tomorrow. Thank you. Dr. Manoj, you are welcome to moderate the